So you're selling your body for cigarettes. A stupid bitch that I'll never forget. We're back with another one, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with another one. Selling your body for cigarettes. So anyway, we're going to start talking about some other good shit on this channel of people that are selling their souls, essentially. You know, we're going to break that down. What is the definition of selling one's soul? You know? First, we're going to start off with selling your body for money. That is pretty much the equivalent of selling your soul and self-worth. Step 2 of selling your soul. Musicians. A lot of musicians have sold their souls. And you know, when I was younger, I used to not understand what that really meant. You know? Like, you wonder. And, you know, even there for a few years, I thought it was just a crock of shit. You know? Like, I'm sure a lot of you may think selling your soul is a crock of shit. And, you know, one thing that makes me proud of myself is that I've managed to hit success without selling my soul, you know, in any type of way. I've sold my time, which I don't really like, but I've never sold my soul. And that's why I don't have to give a fuck what my subscribers think. I don't have to give a fuck about what the world thinks. I don't have to care what I say on YouTube because I don't have to give a fuck. And that's the brilliance of this channel. I don't have to be PG. I don't have to, you know, not say how I feel. I don't have to lie. I don't have to do any of that. It doesn't matter. That's what I like about my channel. Honestly, over all of them, is I don't have to really give a fuck. I can just make whatever I want, say whatever I want, and it doesn't matter. But today I want to talk about musicians that sell their souls. Now, if you start to look around at all the musicians, you know, they all pretty much talk about Satan in some type of way. They all do their all-seeing eye or the 666, you know, or like the John Cena where he does this. You know, what do you think that shit means? You think they just do it for fun? You know, they just couldn't think of any other, like John Cena couldn't think of any other logo to use but this. And it's crazy that kids like idolize him, bro. I don't know. It's always weirded me out. John Cena's always weirded me out. Like, what the fuck? Is he some good dude or is he like some Satanist? Who knows? Who honestly knows at this point? You know? Next, we're going to break down like 70s. David Bowie for sure sold his soul. Okay, like without a doubt sold his soul. The guy literally talked shit on heaven constantly and had such a hate for it. Next up is David Crosby from Crosby, Stills, Nash. I mean, I like these musicians. I like their music, you know. But when you look at it, though, they were all, like, designed to just distract us, you know. Like, when you think about it. Anyway, we're going to get into Crosby, Stills, and Nash. David Crosby, there was a guy named, what the hell is his name? I forget. But he did a thing on David Crosby. John Lord, I think was the guy's name or something like that. He did a thing on David Crosby about how he hung out with like witches and he was a warlock. And before David Crosby died, he said a quote that heaven's probably not that good anyway. You know, why is it that all musicians seem to have a hate for Jesus or heaven? You know? Well, why is that the case? You know? When you're waking up, you wonder that. And you're like, because Satan gave them everything they have. He gave them their position, their money, their power, their fame. So anyway, so we have Crosby, Stills, and Nash in the 70s. Now, we're going to get to the 80s. Your, you know, Shout at the Devil, Motley Crue, you know, definitely another sellout band, of course. Vince Neil is so fucking gay. Anyway, so then we get into the 90s, 2000s, and right now. Ariana Grande, God is a Woman, you know. We also had Led Zeppelin talking about giving you Sweet Seat 666 back in the 70s. That was one I skipped over. We have Ariana Grande, God is a Woman, and her also doing all kinds of like satanic things. A lot of her music played backwards is weird. And then we get into Doja Cat talking about being a reptilian. We get into these other shitty artists, like they all suck. Justin Bieber with the thing on his eye like that. Rihanna with the thing on her eye like that. They all have most of them have checkerboard floors or another thing to watch out for because that's what they have in Freemasonic lodges. They're all sellouts, my friends. And I don't know what to tell you. They all are sellouts for this matrix system. This was a system not built for humans. It was not built for humans to survive, my friends. It was rigged against you years and years and years and years ago. The U.S. military having a star for a logo, a pentagram. A lot of companies having satanic logos like the 666 in Taco Bell. The 666 in Monster Energy. The sun logos being the sun god on most alcohol. It is everywhere you look. The world is in code. You go to a medical facility, it has a snake crawling up a cross. Most people don't understand what that means. You know, everything in this life is marked in symbols. It doesn't matter if you can read them or not. It's there. It's there. That when you die, you might have to answer to your ignorance of not knowing what those symbols meant. Grateful Dead, another band, another big band. They were called the Warlocks at first. Isn't that something? The Warlocks. Another band that is pretty up there for selling their souls. They all had to do it. The majority of them had to do it. U2 was another band, pretty down there for, oddly enough, promoting, kind of going your own way type of thing. That you can go your own way. The other message, Fleetwood Mac, that they pushed, go your own way, And I mean, hey, I like music, man. I do. I've always enjoyed music. But it's acknowledging what it's here for. It's here to keep you distracted. It's your Roman circus, your fun and games to keep you distracted from what really matters. What really matters in this world is to keep you docile so you have fun and don't pay attention to what the consequences are when you die. And they all seem to be good friends. Even the leaders of these countries, they've all made an Antarctic treaty. They've all agreed on things to essentially fuck us, the people that live here. They put chemtrails in our water. Chemtrails in our skies. Fluoride in our water. Smart meter on our houses. And so much more. So much more. That's only scratching the surface, ladies and gentlemen. This is the world we live in. This is the chessboard that we are dealt. And some realize this, some don't. Some wake up to all this. Your money being satanic. Your dollar bill having Mason on the back of it with a pentagram, the triangle. Your Washington Monument has a triangle right at the top of it with an all-seeing eye. There's so many other. Washington, D.C. was built as a pentagram. You don't think this was... You think this was by accident? That they just built a whole city like in a pentagram form? I mean, come on. a pentagram. That's a pretty complicated shape to just build it by mistake. Someone had to design it. The Masons were around for hundreds of years, and the stonemasons are basically what built most of this country. They're a satanic sect, just like the rest of them. They operate in silence. They operate when the doors are closed and no one else can see what they're doing. You know, Bohemian Grove, other things that really haven't been denied. And they try to play it off that if you doubt them, you're out of your mind, or you're a conspiracy theorist. You're a conspiracy theorist if you question anything of this world. It's really convenient that it's like that, you know? Anyway, that's where I'm getting at with this video of, you have to realize this world is nothing but signs and symbols. They speak in a code, a language that most of you can't see. Hopefully when most of you get older, or after maybe watching this video, it's awoken you to this system. It has woke you up to how broken it is, how against the people it is, and how fraudulent everything is. That you really don't make it in Satan's world 90% of the time without selling your soul in some extent. Without basically giving up your spot in heaven. It's a very big subject that I feel doesn't get discussed even anymore. It doesn't even get pondered about, you know? Like, I'm not saying you have to believe this stuff. I'm saying you can totally think I'm some fucking psycho on the internet. I totally understand if you do. But to not even wonder, is this what's going on? To not even fathom it in your mental dictionary is terrifying. To not even think about it, at least once in your life. You know, why are we here? Is there a purpose? Are we being distracted and lied to? To not be in that position at least once in your life is scary, because that means the distractions, the lies, the codes have done their jobs. They have kept you distracted your entire adult existence into wage slavery or fun and games that you don't even question it. And that, my friends, is exactly what the devil wants. He doesn't want you to question any of this. He doesn't want you to question why they destroyed statues in Iran and Iraq. They broke the faces off statues, like, to just try to cover up a lot of our history. Most of our history is probably a lie. And that's just the truth of it. That's where we stand. And, you know, I hope this video helps some people. I really do. I really do. I hope it, at least it makes you question your existence and what you're even here for on this planet. And I hope it grows you all as people. That is what I've learned these past 15 years of being an adult. That's what I've took away from this planet. I wondered every day, of what are we here for? And I'll tell you what, you eventually almost come to that conclusion. I think a lot of people have. Some people still haven't, and that's fine. But we're definitely here for something. Life is not just being here for absolutely no meaning, no purpose. You have a purpose. And we are all God's children at the end of the day. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. We're out.